This is Congressman Alan Grayson, who is famous recently for this.
You get sick, America. The Republican health care plan is this: die quickly.
Congressman Alan Grayson said that on the House floor on September 29th and immediately got everyone inside the Beltway very upset. Because even though Republicans say stuff like that all the time about issues like health care, Democrats just don't. Don't believe me?
Last week, Democrats released a health care bill which essentially said to America's seniors, drop dead.
They're going to save money by rationing care, getting you in a long line. Places like Canada, United Kingdom, and Europe, people die when they're in line.
1 in 5 people have to die because they went to socialized medicine.
When Congressman Alan Grayson said on the House floor that the opposition party's health policy was for people to die quickly, no one would have batted an eye had Alan Grayson been a Republican, because Republicans say stuff like that all the time. Democrats don't. So Beltway Common Wisdom therefore rose up and declared that Congressman Grayson's die quickly comments would cost him his seat, that Republicans had a bullseye on him anyway, and this controversy would make Alan Grayson that much softer a target in the next election. Don't believe everything you read. Since Congressman Grayson's die quickly remarks, the Republican mayor of Orange, Florida, decided not to run against Mr. Grayson. The Republican Speaker of the Florida House decided not to run against Mr. Grayson. A former Republican state senator named Dan Webster decided not to run against Mr. Grayson. A local Republican businessman named Jerry Pierce decided not to run against Mr. Grayson. The Orlando Sentinel reported on Friday that Republicans might have finally found someone to run against Mr. Grayson. Mr. Grayson's district is here in central Florida. You can see there on the map. Florida Republicans think they found a 28-year-old from here in Coral Gables who's willing to move across the state to try to run against Mr. Grayson. There we are, Coral Gables. Cheers. In late-breaking news, we've just found out that a Republican candidate running in Florida's 24th district may instead be seeking the nomination in Grayson's nearby district. So, soft target, right? Sure going to lose his seat for that outburst, right? When it comes to Beltway Common Wisdom, as a great philosopher once said, don't always believe the hype. Joining us now is the aforementioned underestimated Democratic congressman from Florida, Alan Grayson.
Yes, they misunderestimated me again.
So you now have somebody moving from another district. Well, two candidates possibly moving from another district.
Oh, they've decided they're in, and 3 others. But, you know, we've already polled and found out that people with fake names have better name recognition than people already in the race against me.
You ran like, you made up names.
We made up names, right? We put them in a poll, and the fake names did better than the current opponents.
I know that 2 of the people who are going to run against you are Tea Party activists.
That's right.
Patricia Sullivan and Dan Finelli. I'm helping them out with their name recognition right now. What do you
well,
think?
good. Now 4 people know them instead of 2.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of? I mean, they're coming out of a movement that sees itself as quite separate from the organized Republican Party, but they think they've got a lot of energy. They think that they can rouse some populist interest. What do you think about that?
You know, the list now is variable. Who's that of Central Florida politics? There's nobody in the race right now who actually is known at all, but they're not the ones I'm worried about. I'm worried about the National Party. The National Republican Party spent over $2 million to keep me out of office last time, and now, according to the NRCC's executive director, I'm their #1 target, and you know why. So I can only imagine how much 30 pieces of silver they're going to throw this time at the race.
But they're desperate to knock you off because of the district, and they think that you becoming famous for those comments on the House floor make you an easier target, but they can't find anybody. They can only find a whole team of people to run against you. I mean, this is the question. Why is there no native challenger to you?
There's no native challenger because people like a congressman with the guts. Yeah. They like someone who says it like it is, and in particular like a Democrat who says it like it is. I mean, a Democrat with guts is, many people think of it as some sort of mythological creature like a unicorn. People want to see somebody who spells out what's at stake. You know, in healthcare, we're talking about lives. We're talking about huge amounts of money. We're not talking about bipartisanship. Nobody cares about that. They want somebody who actually understands what's at stake and says what's on his mind. It turns out that that's what's on a lot of other people's minds as well.
My sense is that you think being outspoken and aggressive is not just a good strategy for you and for your own district, but you think that Democrats broadly need to be pulling out the stops a little more.
Absolutely. Look, the 4-to-1 people have favored what I said in the emails and the letters that we've received. Over 10,000 people have come to GraysonForCongress.com and made contributions in the last 3 weeks. We're doing a money bomb on November 2nd at congressmanwithguts.com. And people are already piling in. And what that shows is that people really want somebody to stand up for them and call it like it is.
On health reform, let me ask you right now about how you feel about the two sides right now. We talked about at the top of the show, Senator John Kyle, Republican, this weekend saying he doesn't believe that death rates are higher for people who don't have health insurance. The chair of the Republican Party says we just don't need health reform. How do you see the two sides right now?
I think that the Democrats have been fooled now for months by this fantasy of bipartisanship. You know, bipartisanship is a concept that's become a weapon of mass distraction to keep us from actually doing what we need to do, to give people in this country universal health care, to give them affordable health care, and to give them comprehensive health care, because a lot of people find they get all the health care they need as long as they don't need any. And that has to end. That's not what America is entitled to, and that's not the kind of America most people want to see. But instead, we get bogged down in these nuisances. I don't remember hearing a lot about bipartisanship when we were talking about tax breaks for the rich.
Do you think that Democrats are starting to rise to the occasion on health reform? Do you think they're fighting more, appeasing less when it comes to acting for real health reform?
I think so. Since I pointed out that a Harvard study shows that 44,789 Americans die every single year because they don't have health coverage, now people in Washington understand what's at stake, and that's life and death. The cost of delay, and now people understand, is death, and death of many, many Americans. More Americans dying every month than died on 9/11. But that was just once, and this is month after month after month. And that's why I say it's so important that we move it along to save these people's lives.
And strategically, though, you feel like Democrats have made the pivot, that they've stopped working toward bipartisanship as an end rather than as a means, and they've started pushing for what they want.
I think we're making the pivot because we're making the moral argument in favor of what we want. For too long, we were bogged down in this idea of just simply making it more affordable, when in fact what we're talking about is life or death. And that's the case the Democrats haven't made until now, and now I'm seeing it made. Also, I think we've exposed that the Republicans have nothing. I mean, the point of my presentation is that they have no plan. And now they've had 2 weeks to come up with something that would actually save these people's lives, and they've got nothing. So now, for a change, they're on the defensive.
Congressman Alan Grayson, Democrat of Florida, congressmanwithguts.com. Says something that wasn't taken before you took it. Thank you, sir.
Good point.
Nice to see you.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you, Rachel.